what was it like? Like, what was your experience hosting 70 plus episodes of Art Attack?
So first year was like a nightmare. It wasn't as nice as you would imagine. Perfect. So we can start now.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Lab Podcast. How are we all doing? Today's episode is a special one. He has hosted over 3 seasons and has hosted over 70 episodes of Art Attack, Mr. Gaurav Juyal. How are you doing?
Hi, Anne. Good to be here. Finally, we made it.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been in talking. But yeah, so everybody wants to know this. It's everyone's dream to host an Art Attack episode. So how did you get into Art Attack? Was there an audition, or like what was the process of you hosting Art Attack?
Yeah, certainly there was audition. We had almost like one video we had to send, and then when they shortlisted the people, then they had to go to Bombay to Disney and kind of have another audition there.
Oh,
But it was largely by luck. I never planned to either join media or host a show. It was never in my intention or radar. So when the opportunity came, I just applied myself without much expectation,
yeah,
and yeah, it went through. So I kind of gave it a shot.
and that's great. That's great. So what was it like? Like, what was your experience hosting 70 plus episodes of Art Attack? Was it like very professional, or just the aura around and the experience that you had over the years?
Yeah, definitely. The setup was very professional because yeah, if a company like Disney is doing something,
Yeah,
and Art Attack already is a old show, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it started off in '82 with Neil Buchanan, and eventually it came to in India. Like in all over the world, it was being dubbed in different languages, and finally they realized in 2010, a little before that, they might as well have new episodes with local dialect and in Hindi, for example, right? So first year was like a nightmare. It wasn't as nice as you would imagine for various reasons. One is that Art Attack was shot in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, not in India. Because, like I said, when they decided we need more episodes, it was a worldwide decision. It wasn't
Yeah,
just the decision of, you can say, India. So there
yeah,
were like 14 different hosts who have 14 different languages.
yeah.
And we were shooting Art Attack for everyone. So all that shooting happened in Buenos Aires and not in India
Oh, so
because,
on one set, everybody, like all the hosts were shooting. Oh,
yes, yes, yes. That was but at different times of the year, not at the same time. At
oh,
one
okay.
go, there would be like two hosts. One would do have a shooting in the first half, and one would have shooting in the second half. So that was the setup there. And yeah, so first season was like I was never a performer or an actor or into theater. So this was a completely new medium, and definitely there is a lot of fear around camera. It's a unfair one because you have to interact with a inanimate object like a camera, and it's extremely boring, and also it's not as exciting. So the main skill is being looking excited while talking to a glass screen.
Yeah, I get that. So everybody wants to know, what did you do after Art Attack? Like, how did you progress your career after Art Attack?
So one great thing that happened, like most people assume that fame itself is the final, how do you say, reward for a person who works in media. Not for me, for many people maybe, but since it accidentally happened, it was never in my radar, like I said. So it was never my desire point to work in a show. And even the what comes with a show, I was also not much interested in that, which means people get to know you and etc etc. I love to have fun with what I'm doing. That's the first premise. Now that is what I was pursuing always. And right after Art Attack, basically it introduced me to students and children as a audience. And that's that's the point when I realized that what I really want to do is I need to keep learning and sharing what I know with children. With Art Attack, the thing is it's one-sided. I'm on one front of the camera and then students see me on video, right? So there is no interaction as such. So that interaction is only possible if I work live with them. And therefore, that's the point in 2011, you can say. You can say 1 year after shooting Art Attack is when I realized I would like to, keep entering learning as a zone and keep working in that scenario. So yeah, so first season, like I said, was a nightmare. Second, third season were a lot of fun. That's when also you get a skill and therefore now you can play with it. The first year was all about learning everything which was new.
Who would you say is your biggest art inspiration? Like, do you have a specific person who inspires you?
You might be disappointed, but I don't have many inspiration in that sense.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, that's,
because see, I like work of different artists,
mm-hmm.
but I generally don't follow. In that sense, I do not follow anyone. I have my own thoughts I need to pursue,
Yeah, yeah,
and therefore I'm kind of more in my own head than I'm
yeah,
in someone else's head, and
yeah,
therefore because what I'm pursuing is not even art. That's only Art Attack that you're talking about. But
right.
previous, so if 3 years is Art Attack, for example, rest of the 9 years, I have like 12 years of experience now. So the rest of the 9 years is all around students, which also means my special audience that I've chosen to work with.
Uh-huh.
Then there is education and learning that I work with.
Hmm.
So, all right. So, which means my inspiration is there is a big batch of different people whom I consider my inspiration
Yeah.
for different reasons, of course.
Mm.
Like some of them who have worked around pedagogy and say, for example, Rudolf Steiner, who gave a new field of anthroposophy. um, World of Education has come out from there, so I follow World of Education and therefore I follow Rudolf Steiner. At the same time, I have my own other spiritual guru. For example, I follow pranic healing, so the master who introduced pranic healing, I consider him my technical guru in terms of spirituality.
Okay.
Then
So it's just
I
not, it's not just art. You,
no,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
because I am more mixed material than art,
yeah.
and therefore I would be working with wood. Like I have some wood lying right behind me right here. I work with a lot of material, and I love to
Yeah,
express. I love to repair. So
yeah.
art is not the only thing that I love.
That's great. Yeah.
Like for example, again, as inspiration, you would say, I would say Nikola Tesla would be one inspiration for me to be someone who dedicates their life into their work. So that,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, his contributions are separate, but as an attitude there. And for example, Bruce Lee for me would be the person who would have achieved the epitome of human body capabilities,
Yeah, yeah.
like
I,
many others. But
yeah,
also he had his own philosophy. So I have these
yeah,
different figures whom I really
yeah,
look forward to in terms of course, there are real life living people also
yeah,
whom I get inspired by. But
yeah,
one loophole which I find, which I try to avoid, is when you're getting inspired by someone, be very specific about what the inspiration is and stick to
mm,
that. Which means if someone's art is great, I'm inspired that person as an artist, not as a human being.
I see.
Because being a human being is very different. You can be a great scientist, but a horrible husband or a father. You understand?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when you are following someone, you can't follow someone blindly about everything in their life,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
because then you're missing out on the part of being human, right?
Yeah. So, is this something you regret in your career? So you might want to make people aware about.
I don't think I have any regrets. I've actually, and I have not done my career path clinically or calculative wise. Okay. I've taken a lot of decisions which are very, you can say, spontaneous, gut feeling, based on gut feeling. When I got opportunities, I just act on it. And then I don't worry whether it translates or not, because my job is done. I was supposed to respond to the opportunity. That's all is required. And if it happens, and if it gives me a good feeling, I go ahead. If it doesn't happen, then it's okay. Of course, there are some disappointment. You're like, "Arey, acha hota, wo hota to," but nahi hua. That's perfectly fine. And therefore, I've done my background is such that I work with Art Attack. That's the first thing which I did after college. So do you understand, when you set your career path in that,
Yeah.
it can be a problem for a lot of people, because
Mm-hmm.
now they set the bar high for themselves and they can't see themselves otherwise. Because the first
Mm-hmm.
question people, your fans, everybody will be asking is, oh, how much you earn and where do you live? And so there is a lot of lifestyle around media field, correct?
Yeah.
However, there is no data to say that everybody is supposed to be rich. And if you actually go down and see what kind of earning, possibly an IT professional is earning a lot more than a lot of actors and actresses.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because the thing is, the
Yeah.
money involved there, if you take the total, because they might end up earning through one project, but maybe
Yeah.
there are breaks of no non-functioning or no work during the year. That's how a lot of freelancing works, especially in acting also. If you're lucky, you get a lot of work. If you're not lucky, you get one or two things in a year. So it's a completely unorganized sector. and
Mm-hmm.
and therefore, yeah. So my trajectory, I've also, for example, worked in school as a teacher. After Art
Oh.
Attack, I chose a role as a teacher because I wanted to understand my audience better. And there is
Yeah.
no other way to understand an audience otherwise but working with them directly. So I worked
Mm.
1 year in Ahmedabad in a riverside school. Then I worked 1 year in rural in a village school in 𝙬𝙤𝙪. Okay. Again,
Mm.
so that I can gain the experience of working in a village school. And how did I come about it is like I asked my mentors and they're like, these all these schools are there. And in the whole
Uh-huh.
list, there was one school which was in the village section. So it kind of gave me a spark and I chose that as a choice.
Yeah.
And things, it's not like you choose and it happens to you. Even with 𝙬𝙬𝙪, I was sending them email and it was not being responded. So one fine day, I just found them on Google Map and I ended up in the school. And I told them I would like to work with you. And
Yeah.
then I worked with them for a trial for a week or two. And then they were also comfortable and confident. So then I worked for 1 whole year in 𝙬𝙬𝙪 in a rural setting. So in that sense, I've never regretted. My friends were worried. They're like, why are you taking this? There is not even money. There's like, why would you do
Yeah.
this? But people will not understand your logic. So if it's important for my growth, I don't expect other people to see or understand why it is important for my growth. I get that feeling and I act on it, and I don't waste time unnecessarily. Right. So therefore, I have a, like, in that sense, I have a huge spectrum of work experience and personal experiences,
Yeah.
which are, yeah. So no
That's great.
regrets. Yeah.
That's great. When it came to working anywhere, while teaching or uh, just any job you've done, including Art Attack, did you have any bad work day, and what did you take away from it?
Bad work day. Yes. Many days were bad work days. You also go through, you can say, social discrimination, which did happen in some form in Art Attack also. Shooting
Oh.
in. So they were just weird people sitting and who were kind of managing. Our team was pretty good, which means almost everyone in the whole team was amazing while shooting Art Attack. Just because of one or two people who were the decision maker, they made our life really difficult there. Unnecessarily, I would say, and not even professionally. It would, like, uh, how having a bad day is a psychological terror. It's not a technical error.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so therefore, but the thing is, what I learned is, one thing is, I learned the hard way of how exactly shooting happens. Because when I was shooting for Art Attack and when the things were tough, I thought that's how it is because I had no other experience of working in the industry, right?
Yeah.
So that's also one thing we have to be careful about is, if things don't seem right, then you have to fix them, because you might be accepting them. Oh, it's a norm. It should not be a norm.
Mm.
And therefore we did say it much later once we returned back, and then the Disney team was like, oh, why didn't you tell us before? So I told them
Uh-huh.
I was the youngest player there. I expect other people to
Yeah.
because I have no idea how things are.
Mm.
So yeah, but I also learned that slowly with Art Attack, of how to be comfortable with the camera and the act of performing,
Uh-huh.
because you're having
Yeah.
fun with yourself. That's it's only children can do that. It's a difficult thing for adult to have fun with themselves. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, a big piece of advice, in a sentence, or just a quote that you really love that really inspires you?
Many quotes, but I don't remember, honestly. I would rather create my own, but I don't remember the quotes. One quote I do like, which I do believe in. Two people have mentioned this objectively. One is Elizabeth Gilbert in her TED Talk, Elusive Genius. And second is again Nikola Tesla. And they both are talking about that ideas and creativity is not generated within the body. All right. It comes from somewhere. And if you're aware of this process, and if you don't have that ego, oh, I'm generating this idea and I'm so cool, then it's a limitation to your creativity. But if you believe that the ideas actually exist in the universe and they come through you, so the better mind, body, and heart you create, the better fertile land it becomes for the ideas to flow through. And of course, the kind of ideas that will flow through you are subjective to your cognitive abilities and how you think and
Yeah.
what capabilities you have as a human being. So because certain things, if it does not fall into your perspective as a world, will never come to you. All right.
Mhm.
So when some people, for example, they're like, oh, like if you go with the conventional religious, all religious conventional bodies around the world, they cannot accept the multiple genders that's a reality in modern world, right? They will not.
Yeah.
It's because their thought process is so old that they don't even know it can exist, and they can't even accept that it can exist,
Mm.
and they're not strong enough to break their perception. So a person like that can never have ideas around that particular section.
Mhm.
Similarly, if you want to be technically sound, then your mind must work in a little technical way. And if
Yeah.
you want great creative ideas to come through you, you have to understand that creativity is not a linear process. You
Yeah.
have to have a very wide base with a lot of abilities. Like you have to be a
Mm.
jack of all. And you can specialize in few things, but really need to be a jack of all so that you understand such huge. I understand art, I understand science, I understand biochemistry, I understand human behavior, I understand psychology, and so on and so forth. And I understand audiences and mix. And then when the idea starts traveling through me, it goes through all those different filters. All
Yeah.
right. And then something will come out. So the more stronger your filters are, it will filter everything. Nothing will come out. But you
Mhm.
need to be able to connect those filters also. So interconnection ki bahut zarurat hai andar in your self, you know.
Yeah.
I totally forgot the question, original question that you asked.
I know, that's fine. Uh, so is there any piece of advice that you would like to give? Just a vague piece of advice, that just applicable to almost anything and everything.
Yeah, many. One is I follow a rule of 10 seconds. This is for anti-procrastination. Okay.
Mm.
Everybody wants to do something, but they're like, "Arey, ab kar lenge, tab kar lenge," and it
Yeah.
prolongs. So even I procrastinate. There's nothing wrong in it. But when I know ki, okay, you need to have that will, ki, okay, now it's time to start. How do you
Mm.
start is the question where most people fail because they don't know how to go to the next level. You do whatever
Mm.
you can in 10 seconds, which means if it's about doing homework, what can you do in those 10 seconds? At least you can bring out the notebook and keep it on your table. So you
Mhm.
displace and you create a visual cue for yourself, a visual milestone. वो 10 सेकंड में आप book रख लो and then go back to your Netflix or whatever you're watching. Okay.
Yeah.
At least next time you wake up and you're moving around in your area, you will see that book being kept there
Mhm.
and which was not there before. All
Yeah.
you have to do is in next 10 seconds is whenever you get time, open the first page and just read it. And then you
Yeah.
want to leave it, let it be. So the thing is,
Mhm.
you every 10 seconds you start propelling yourself towards something. If I want to clean the fan, now fan cleaning is difficult because you need elevation, which is not easy to come
Mm.
by. So all I can do is in 10 seconds is keep a cloth or keep a chair under the fan. That's all. And then go ahead. So that physical displacement of
Yeah.
an object in your space, which आधा काम आपने कर दिया ना, all you have to do
Mhm.
is climb up. That you can do in the next 10 seconds.
Mhm.
All right. So that is one. And it also means in 10 seconds you can write a note and keep it, paste it on your laptop,
Yeah.
or send a mail in 10 seconds. So वो 10 सेकंड में आप जो कर सकते हैं वो कर लीजिए. That's one.
Yeah.
Second is if the new generation has to understand what emotions are and what expression is.
Mm.
If you guys don't understand it, one thing is you will be losing a lot of stuff from many angles. You will not know what to do when you are in a conflict, whether it's
Mm.
somebody in a personal conflict or a professional conflict में क्या करें. Because the thing is कि whenever you're in conflict, fight or flight mode आता है ना, या तो आप भागने की कोशिश करेंगे या फिर fight करने की
Yeah.
कोशिश करेंगे, both ways.
Mhm.
But the thing is कि we don't understand कि you can also take it a middle path in which you very calmly address the question through communication. Okay.
Yes.
And so because earlier generation, they had a very big ego. Whenever conflict, one would go in conflict with them, they would either shut up or be aggressive.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we have to learn is that that's not the way. If everybody has a right to come to us and say, oh, I do not like this about you or what you have done.
Mhm.
We should be okay with this question. You have to practice to not get baffled by this question.
Yeah.
That this person or this friend of mine, some people will do it in private and some people will do it publicly. Now, I'm not saying that everything that is somebody is doing to us or saying to us is correct. That's okay.
Yeah.
But if, for example, someone comes to me publicly, I would later on go and with the same tone and communicate to them, look, this was a personal matter between me and you. It should ideally have been done in a more private setting. Okay.
Yeah, the
Now,
whole cancel culture that's going on right now, it's very toxic.
Yeah. And I think because itna sara communication chal raha hai na between, see, it's a very common thing to find people arguing over online.
Yeah.
If you really have something good to do, then you will understand your time is more precious. Nothing good is going to come out from an online debate at all. Rather, if you really want to do something, even if it is like connecting people or donating even 10 rupees, that's okay. At least you're on the action side. Talking side, I think काफी हो गया hai. And on one way, I'm also happy with the culture of Instagram, people just putting their random videos out. I'm saying that is still better because previous generation did not allow anyone to express. So I'm extremely happy that people are at least expressing. Ek step to liya un logon ne, right? Not everything is nice. You must know what to read, what not to read, what to pay attention to, what not to pay attention to, because there is too much information. Anyways, एक तो आप लोग को definitely work, balance your emotions. Now, how do you balance it? Balancing का मतलब यही है कि you accept them, you accept your anger, you accept your hate, you accept your sadness, you accept करो पहले, right? Wherever you are right now. And then slowly, like a layer, peel by peel, make some little effort, even through a thought, to know कि मेरे लिए क्या अच्छा है, क्या अच्छा नहीं है. At least come to that clarity, wherein you can say कि, I am interested in my own health, physical, mental, and emotional. And therefore, I would like to keep the better habits which resonate with me. And, human body is the best doctor, you can say, and even the best instructor. वो बताता है आपको, clearly बताता है कि I'm not comfortable with this. And you just have to feel it. You just have to feel, am I comfortable? Am I not comfortable? Even if you don't know the reason why you're uncomfortable, better to take that caution. Okay, so when you're eating something, meeting someone, doesn't matter. If you're not feeling well, don't eat it, don't meet that person. And therefore, you have to also, we also go through gluttony, for example, like, overeating. And even if you get that one question, I think I am overeating, at least acknowledge that side also. Because you have multiple voices. The more voice, the kind of voices you hear, you give more importance to them, they become stronger. Okay. So we have to listen to the right voices and kind of give them also acknowledgement and say, okay, I'll also listen to you. Otherwise, we'll be slave to our own habits, which is not as cool, because it's just going to create more problem all the time.
So, do you have any ambitious projects in mind that you might have not done yet, or the most ambitious project that you have done?
No, I don't know. For people, relatively different projects will be, for people when they say कि आप उनके लिए क्या ambitious है वो मैं नहीं बता सकता, because they will be different for different people. For me also, I generally keep I do something and then I'm always looking out for the next thing, so I don't pay too much attention to the, so I don't ponder over, okay, oh, this is the best object ever, project ever. And but I do would like to drastically change the education system. That would be the biggest project ever, India or worldwide. I think it sucks big time, right? Especially schooling, because college time pe na, you still have a lot of choices. You don't want to attend, you want to attend, you have your own independent life there. But schooling, because children are forced to do it, right? We have created a system for them and we're not giving them a choice either. So वो system को improve करना अच्छी बात है, क्योंकि वरना when you guys come into the college first year, the potential that you have, that has taken a very big hit because of school education. And there are a lot of the very common practices, I would call them a malpractices. बहुत सारी common practices हैं. One is like bookish culture, कि इतना topic cover करना है. क्यों करना है? मतलब I would question the contents themselves, कि इतने सारे topics क्यों cover करना है आपको, इससे क्या होगा? Now, second is the culture of कि you need a particular, for example, the boards, the problem is you can have alternate education before, but boards may, just because that's a single standardized paper, which means people who would like to have different kind of schooling also don't have a choice. They will eventually have to give the same standardized test. So
Yeah.
wahan pe bhi wapas problem aata hai. The whole system is kind of designed, and going by numbers, if 25,000 people have till now committed suicide in and around because of the pressure of education, then I think paying money for bad mental health, that's the worst system ever. Kya aap paisa bhi pay kar rahe ho, and it's in return giving you a lot of mental pressure, and you don't even feel you have learned enough. You don't feel confident about it. I think it's a lose-lose situation for everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, an education system cannot be changed because there are millions of people and thousands of institutions all involved, playing their role and going by the system. So वो change
Yeah.
करना, whether it's possible in one lifetime or not, I don't know, but that is my aim anyways.
So there are many like sides to social media. So obviously it gives you opportunity to share your work, and like communication, everything is there. But like, what do you say is the worst of social media?
I think worst we all know. I have screen addiction personally because I have ADHD, and therefore screens offer you so much input. So ADHD people, possibly, I don't know the actual data around it, but I do feel. So that's the one basic con I'm also suffering from. Okay. And but the thing is, you have to see that another con is fake news spreads too quickly. Okay, people can get influenced too much, because what you have to understand is social media में वही information आपको मिल रही है जो already you want to believe. They understand your behavior profile. That's the main business of all social media, that they understand your mind profile because of your choices you have made. They know every click you have in previous years you have done, every word you have chatted. They even know your eye movement in the screen. They know when you're scrolling, even if you're stopping at a particular post for a second or two, they know it. And if you're scrolling through 10 posts, they know it. So the computer is doing the thinking. It creates a profile, and through your inputs and outputs, it creates a profile, and therefore they will know, oh, you are a person who gets agitated because of this particular news. They will send you more news of that. Okay. And therefore, that's a con side, that the social media is designed to keep you dumb and micro perspective. Well, it gives you very focused perspective only. The way to undo it is pretty easy. Just read a lot more from different websites, and you should also know which are trustable media partners. And before forwarding anything, you just do a quick search. आपको पता लग जाएगा. If that thing is not turning up in big newspaper, मतलब that's fake. Right? And the good side is, what you have to understand is that you guys are connected now. That's the biggest strength.
Yeah.
With whatever cons it has, I'm saying the biggest strength is it has connected the youth. And you guys are way more faster with it. You can literally, people have businesses on Instagram, not a website also. Right?
Yeah.
So I also say the life is a full platter. It's given to you. You can use whatever, and you can also refuse. So now, just because we are weak enough to not take those choices, we can't blame the medium itself. Okay, I'm not advocating the bad systems. These all fall into bad system, which is capitalism also. Crony capitalism, that they're forcing you to buy more stuff. But I think
Yeah.
itni information abhi bahar hai ki you should be now taking your own choices and decisions.
Yeah.
Wahan pe I would say youth cannot say, oh, we didn't know. You can Google it.
Mm.
If your laziness is not going to save you from your accountability. So accountability to chahiye dost, because na accountability mein kya hota hai ki you are on spotlight, but it also allows you can say, okay, I'm going to take accountability, but I'll do as I please.
Yeah.
All right. And जो अगर अच्छा होगा तो मेरा credit है, बुरा होगा तो मेरा. अभी क्या problem है कि, for example, even the actions of the government are not accountable. मतलब, so that's the kind of system we cannot have. We have to have and we need to develop this capability कि हम बोलें कि I'll take this project and I'll be accountable, but I need my freedom then of thought. A lot of people are trying to escape from it, but that will not lead you to better intelligence. That will make you dumb. If you want to act on other people's behalf, कि आप बताओ क्या करना है, मैं करूंगा, that monetary also, paisa wise, you'll get a lot less. But the places where people come and say, I'll do it. I know my job, I'll do it, but I'll do it in my own way. There is high risk for both parties, but there is a lot more benefit in both parties also.
So one last question. So is there anything that you would like to achieve, or your goal that you have set for yourself?
I've kind of I've realized that there are no one thing that you need to do to. So the thing is, I've removed the end frame. If I say animation and if it's a story, I've removed the conclusion bit from my life. I don't need the conclusion to end my life. Do you understand? The reason is because I don't know how short or how long it is. And therefore, whatever I have done while I was alive is good enough for me. So whatever, if my goal is also education and changing education, whatever minuscule percentage I'm able to change it, I'm good enough. And I also realized that the systems don't change in a day. It might take years and hundreds of years also. All right. So again, this kind of pragmatism, your history, you can read history and you can decode it and you can understand how changes happen. There is no formula to it. Amazing people and these characters come and they make a big change, but rather there are these lenient developments that are happening. And radical developments nobody has control over, game changer jisko bolte hain. And therefore, in that sense, in education, what I realized is that if I can work with students, I also call education the work of working with consciousness, which means, like, for example, I'm talking to you. If even one or two ideas hit you, your consciousness has been changed. Now that's a permanent change. And that change might reflect after 10 years once you start working, because when you start working, you have a lot more control over your choices and decisions, and you can put money, right? And therefore, that change might even come after 20 years. So my project is such that I'll see the result after 20 years or 15 years or 10 years. There is no way in me being able to see. Therefore, I like to meet students a lot more. And this talk is also happening from that point of view, that the thought can reach out. And if it gives even a single % of capability to someone, my job is done there.
So that was great. I learned a lot from whatever you said, and it was a great session. Thank you so much for joining me. And it was great. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Ayan. See you again.
Starting this episode. I'll see you later. Thank you everyone for watching. See you later. Thank you very much.